Yeah.
And so,
yeah. I liked what the lawyer said in the end of that. Was she really conning him in the beginning? Was it a con versus a con? And because she thought he had bunches of money that he had let on, and she saw a way to get him to pay off the debts that she had.
Yeah, which is embezzlement.
It is. But, you look at it, how do people get where they are? I mean, this dude was a nobody, right? He was just a nobody who took a big chance. And, he had credentials because Alec Baldwin would have conversations with him on Twitter. I mean, that's so she said, "Oh, well, I know Alec Baldwin, and Alec Baldwin's replying to this guy. I should marry him." You're like, "What? Wait a minute. Hold on.
How did we jump that far ahead here?"
But this guy was just a dude, that he played a lot of video games. Wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. No, he played a lot of video games. Yeah. Well, that's what she says in the thing. Like, he would sit in there and eat pizza and play Call of Duty in the hotel room.
Oh my gosh. You telling me I'm in the making
wrong.
of being
There's nothing wrong with that. I had Domino's yesterday.
Oh man.
But the thing is, like, you can look back in history and some of you had Bernie Madoff. Right? Bernie Madoff.
Oh, yeah, they go on.
He did the same thing. Another great movie that I love, it's a documentary that I saw. It's the Polka King. Anyway, it's the Polka King. And if you've not seen that, you need to look it up. It's about this dude that was from, I forget where he was from exactly, the country, but he came to America and he knew polka and he started this whole polka show. But then he started like taking memberships from people.
Yeah.
He would take this money from people and they would go on trips. He got them in to meet the Pope. Like all these people he took on a trip and they were like, they had their picture made with the Pope. But yet he wasn't giving them anything. It was the weirdest thing, man. And Jack Black plays him in the narrative movie. But
well, the cult thing falls right in line because all the cult leaders are narcissists 100%.
Yeah.
But that's like a whole different level. They're all con men. At the end of the day, they're all con artists. But it's wild to think like, especially these past like 5 years, like I'm saying, there's a whole series on HBO called Generation Hustle that talks about more modern, like in the past couple years, of these people that are just, and you're like, how do you do that? And the thing is they don't have any remorse.
Right.
Narcissists don't have any like frame of consequence or morality. It's only what benefits them. It's like they continue to lie to keep themselves taking 10 to 60 grand off people because they're like, okay.
Well, they can't lose. They can't lose. Right? Yeah. Losing means utter defeat. So even like the guy in Bad Vegan, dude went to jail. He went to prison for a year, but he learned nothing. He came right back out the same person. Nothing changed. And that's, in my book, that's defeat. People go to jail who are innocent, and that's one thing. But this dude was clearly guilty of everything. He went to prison and learned nothing. Came right back out.
Came out, started doing it right again.
Right again, because he didn't consider that defeat. Oh, I went to jail for a minute. But it wasn't my fault. Right. And his whole concept is that I'm gonna take money from one to put somewhere else to cover another thing, but I'm not gonna tell this person the truth. It's a web of lies, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm doing this to cover this. And eventually you just, I don't know.
All to let her dog live forever.
Yeah. Weird. But it was fun that they caught him in Pigeon Forge.
Which I thought was awesome. The Vegas of the South.
Oh my gosh. And to me,
that's what I kept thinking about is how they traveled around and went to Vegas, went to all these casinos, but they end up And the only place that you can't really gamble that looks like Vegas in the South.
Exactly. And the thing was that they made it out like this was the hideout of America. Like you could go and not be found in Pigeon Forge. I mean, what? Who thinks that? Pigeon Forge is a destination.
Yeah, I mean, but I could look at it from the angle and be like, you know what? They're not. You could definitely get lost in Pigeon Forge and hide pretty well.
If you don't want to get found, you don't go there. You go to like Bucksnart or even Norris. I mean, Norris is for far enough away from everything that you're able to hide.
Sure. I'll go for that.
But not Pigeon Forge. I don't think the guy thought clearly.
They just want to go cakes, man. Go karts and pancakes.
Yeah.
You can do it. And you do a lap and they give you a pancake. Do another lap, you get another
smoking pancake.
What was the other one too? Like I remember Ashley and a bunch of people would come up with attractions in Pigeon Forge. And I think one of them was called Laser Tan. And it was like laser tag and a tanning bed into one. And I thought that was funny. I was like, that's really
laser
good.
Tan.
Laser tan, good. Yeah.
And here's the cool thing. My friend is the officer who caught the guy.
Oh, really?
Ray Brown went to my high school. He played football. He's a couple of grades younger than me, maybe a year younger than me, but he played football when I tried to play football. And he's the guy. He was on the thing. I told my wife we were watching. I was like, "That's Ray. I know Ray."
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool, man.
That's awesome.
He's representing. But yeah, it was good. I couldn't put it down. We started it, and it was like, I gotta watch the next episode. I gotta watch the next episode. But it was really good.
Well, there's that one, and The Tender Swindler is another good one.
I haven't watched that yet.
You need to watch that one. That one's interesting. That one's wild because it's like, I think it's even more risky than this other dude.
Okay.
Put it on we've watched so many of them. Like The Dropout that's on Hulu about Elizabeth Holmes, who did that whole blood testing thing that was a complete just lie. And she became a CEO billionaire, but it was all BS.
Right.
That one's good.
Well, I really like Bad Vegan. It gave me sort of a 90s type feel about it, even though it was like the early 2000s. Just that whole concept, man. It's like, dude, if she just stayed the course with the restaurant, it would have been really cool. I mean, I thought it just had a good feeling about it. And then it just goes nuts that this guy comes in. But I liked how they presented the atmosphere of things as far as the good part of it all went. I don't know. I probably could watch it again, just going in with that perspective. So, but.
Oh, man.
There was one more thing.
The con man.
Yeah. It was crazy. What was the other thing I was going to tell you?
It was about the Uber movie.
That's right. I'll start fresh. So have you seen the commercial for that?
What, the Super Pumped TV show?
Yeah.
I know that, well, I don't know him, but I've corresponded with the creator of that show.
Okay.
And
I don't doubt that at all.
And so anyway, he told me not to tell anybody this, but we tried to get me a read for the show. It didn't end up turning out, but that's all right. So I know about it. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but.
Well, I saw it yesterday, and it looks like it has that whole social network feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon Joseph Levitt playing the guy who started Uber and everything, and me having worked for Uber at one time, I'm really interested to see how this goes about. Just being it was really weird because when I started driving for Uber, I mean, I was making $1,000 a week, working like 21 hours the whole week, just driving my own car around whenever I wanted. I didn't have a boss. I could go stop and eat if I wanted to. I could just do this. I didn't have to work, it's just me, my car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm raking this money in. I thought, this is great. And then it all, like the beginning of the year, that year, everything went downhill because what they did is they reduced the rate at which people had to pay to ride Uber, but they also at the same time increased the take they would take from each ride and each driver. So those two things together added up to 45% cut that the driver took. That's the hit that we took. So where we were making, we were making this amount when the year started, we were making 45% less than that. And it was like, what in the world? What are you doing? So I don't know all the intricate details about what happened. I'm hoping this show does that or lets me in on that. But I remember I saw one line, maybe Uma Thurman, she's in it, right?
I don't know.
I think Uma Thurman's in it, and Uma Thurman? Yeah, I think Uma Thurman. She has the quote. She goes, "You're not listening to the people who are doing the work," and that is exactly right, because people were like, "This is not working. This is not working," but they didn't listen to anything we said. So I'm curious. I just saw this commercial yesterday so I'm curious.
Well, I know that Uber Eats sucks.
Does it?
Yeah. Every time we've done Uber Eats, it's failed. Like they've done something. And it's not the driver's fault so much as it is everything else. But it's just like we've had so many problems. Like being 30 to an hour late or getting lost or whatever. And it's like me and Ashley both were like, we're not gonna do this. We'll go pick it up these days.
Absolutely.
And also it costs, you want 2 cheeseburgers that would normally be, $20 to pick up. It's $60. And you're like, I don't want those. I don't want those burgers that bad.
And if something's wrong with the order, you have no recourse. You've now separated yourself further away from the original source of fixing it.
Yeah. And so we were like, Uber Eats can kick rocks. Yeah.
I never understood that. They had started it here in Knoxville. It originated for us in there's a place called Insomnia Cookie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Called Insomnia Cookie, and it's up till they're open until like 2 a.m. or something, and you can buy cookies late into the night. It's on campus, University of Tennessee campus, and they had started delivering cookies that way. It wasn't an Uber Eats situation, but I think it was one of those testing grounds. It was like people could order cookies from Insomnia Cookies, and then you deliver them to them. But I always thought that was really weird. I'm like, dude, I feel weird handling other people's food and stuff. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah. And those cookies are expensive, man. $3 for one cookie. And they were like little.
Yeah.
Not me.
That's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, looks like a good show. I had an audition the other day for their show. I don't remember what it's called.
Sins and Secrets.
George Pierre.
What is that?
You know that guy, that George Pierre guy, that casting director?
I don't know him offhand.
I forget what show it was for. But anyway, I think it's because I haven't updated my headshot. My headshot still has me all clean cut and everything.
Well, hey, if you want me to shoot your headshots, I'll do it.
I want you to.
All right.
That'd be great. Because I told them, I said, they're sending me things that are all detective, thorn in the side detective. And I'm like, I just emailed them back and said, I have long hair and goatee. I'm not really looking to cut it right now. So I'll just update the headshot to be drug dealer.
Yeah.
So.
Or Johnny Depp's stand-in.
There you go.
Hey, I would gladly stand in for Johnny Depp.
I would too. You know, it was really interesting. When they made October Sky, because they made it here in Knoxville, Oliver Springs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to go and stand. I just went to the cattle call and stood with some people, some friends in the cold. And it was out in Oliver Springs. And excuse me, they called me.
Save some air for the rest of us. Jeez, guy.
They called me and wanted me to be stand-in for Jake Gyllenhaal. But that was like before he was even known. And I turned it down.
Jeez. I remember hearing about it, and I remember saying, I'm not going to go be an extra because I want to be one of the main characters.
That's what I was, I had the delusion back then. I was still delusional about the business a lot.
Well, you got to have some sense of that, to even consider playing pretend for a living.
You do. I just meant the mechanics of it, right? I thought I was going to go to a 50,000 person cattle call and be cast as a lead.
And be noticed.
Yeah. Like pick you out of this. Oh, hey, that guy. You come here.
Oh, you know what? He should be the main character of this movie.
I think it should be. Now, I will say this. This is interesting. So I found out about, I forget who told me this. Somebody told me that they were doing big casting for The Patriot, which was Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger, Mel Gibson, And they were doing it in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And they told me the date and time and everything. So I got this group of guys together. It was like 4 or 5 of us. Got in the car at, 5 o'clock in the morning and headed out to Rock Hill, South Carolina. So it was a cool road trip. So we went over there and stood in line. Huge cattle call. I mean, like 6-7 hours standing in line, And it was at the college. So we go in. And we take our headshots and stuff, and we go up to the line, and the guy's sitting there, different people, how it is. You know how it is. So the guy looks at it, and he's like, I said, Tennessee, huh? Well, I was trying to keep this quiet from you Tennessee folks. That's what he said to me. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to keep this quiet from you Tennessee folks. I don't know what that meant, but I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah. What did that mean?
So
are we blacklisted and we don't even know it?
Right. So anyway, we go in and sit in the big theater. It was at the college, but we sit in the theaters like 1,500 people at a time. And then they talk to you from the stage like they always do. And then we drove home. And then one of my friends that went with us, I couldn't get a hold of him. Like, man, I can't get a hold of him. So he came back and called me and he goes, man, you're going to be mad. I said, why? He said, well, I got called to that movie. And so he went over and was one of the core soldiers. And he told me the whole experience. So he gets there and he said he got called later on. There were already people had been working for several weeks on this, and they were about to mutiny because of the living conditions. They were sleeping in tents. These extras were sleeping in tents and things. And they said, oh, no, we still need you. Please just hang around. So they would, they ate pizza every day, and they started paying them cash at the end of every night.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah, dude. They'd line up and say, $200, $200, whatever it was. They were paying them cash, so they got them to stay. So he stayed there for a week. And then there was one day he said they would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get makeup and then not even shoot. And you know how that goes. Mm-hmm. But he said one day he was standing there, just standing there. And I don't know if it was a PA or something, walked by and they looked at him, they stopped and they said, what are you doing? Nothing. Have you done anything today? He goes, no. I mean, he was defensive back with them, It's like, well, come here. We're going to give you a line.
Nice.
And he was like, okay. So he said they took him all the way to the front line, director, camera, everything. He had braces. And the director saw it. Then he goes, oh.
Get him out of here.
Dude, he said he was trying to rip those things off. He goes, I tried every way in the world to rip those braces off, and I couldn't do it. So I said, sorry. So they sent him back, and after that, he left. He came home because he knew it wasn't going to get anything better.
What was this movie?
The Patriot.
The Patriot.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So it can happen, but
yeah, you're one little moment of whatever.
Yep. So did you enjoy Johnny Knoxville, man?
Yeah, he's awesome. Even when he's not, he's awesome.
That match was hilarious. And the sad part was it was the best match on the card that night.
I thought it was fun. It
was fun.
I mean, I don't watch WrestleMania or nothing, but I mean, I'm a big fan of entertainment. And I looked in that stadium and I was like, good grief, there's 1 million people there.
There was 80,000 people there.
I mean, to go watch guys wrestle.
Yeah.
And Johnny Knoxville, I was like, you know what? That's why I made that joke when I was like, I guess Jackass is a wrestling organization now, because I don't know what you call it, like the NWO or
right.
Any of those gangs. I was just kind of like, okay, because they had me. Again, I don't watch wrestling, not anymore. I did when I was a kid. But watching Jackass do it, I was like, this is great.
Man, I was impressed with Wee Man.
Oh, he took a kick to the face.
He did, man, but he body slammed that dude too. Sami Zayn.
Heck yeah, he did. Heck yeah, he did.
It was awesome.
It was fun.
Body slam. Yeah, that was, a lot of people, didn't want to see it. They don't like celebrities being involved. And
right. That's why I said the David Arquette thing. I was like, I hope this doesn't go that route.
Well, and that's the thing. I watched this guy on YouTube during wrestling. He does a live stream. He's in England. And he's always like this, and he's so excited about wrestling all the time. And he'll do a YouTube live stream. So he'll sit there and he'll watch the show. But he commentates and talks about it and talks to his audience. And he's got a really good thing going on because WWE will send him stuff to promote. They send him prizes and things like that. And he's able to give it away on his show and everything. But that guy, WrestleMania didn't start for him until 1 a.m. his time.
Oh man, so he was up.
He was up.
He was up for it.
So at midnight when it ended, what time it was for him. And he goes on for 8 hours at a time. His streams are 8 hours long. And he's just sitting in his basement. He's sitting downstairs and he has a green screen and he'll put cool graphics up and all this. But it's just a lot of fun. It's not really overproduced or anything like that. But he's just entertaining.
Yeah, it's like me. I'm in my basement right now, also known as a garage. I get it.
Yeah.
That's cool, though. I think it's wild that, how do I say this? I thought watching some of the commercials and stuff, it reminded me, does the NFL own any part of it, or are they?
No. Because
they have the same kind of WrestleManiashop.com as NFL.com, and it was it seemed very linear. And which again, since how long's been professional wrestling like this been going on?
Oh gosh. Pro wrestling's been going on forever. But I think it really
when it got TV and you had the characters and it became a
there used to be
source of entertainment. Yeah.
There used to be territories, right? And these different guys ran the territories. So you'd have, the Southern Territory, and you'd have the Northern Territory, and you have the, Middle America territory, and there would be Memphis territory, different territories. And those guys all had an agreement that you wouldn't come into their area. So if wrestling was in Knoxville and they had a big thing going on, WWE wouldn't come down and do a show in your area because you wanted those guys to make the money that were doing it locally. For what they were doing. And they had the NWA, which was the National Wrestling Alliance, which was all these territory. These guys who owned them were like a coalition, and they would pick one champion. So the NWA, if you were a part of that, there was one champion, and he would travel around to the different territories, every 6 months or whatever. And he would wrestle somebody local for the championship. But then when Vince McMahon took over WWE from his dad, he pretty much said, I don't care about the territories. I'm going to move in and start doing shows wherever I want. And ultimately it worked out for him because there are no more territories. It's all, if local guys are doing stuff at the Coliseum here in Knoxville, and then he'll do a show across the street, Thompson Bowling, and doesn't care because it's about,
money.
I mean, it's all a circus anyway. They're all carnies, right?
Well, and that's the thing. I got a kick out of I don't think I could watch the whole 3-day event.
Right.
But I definitely enjoyed the Jackass one because I was like, all right. But I did think about David Arquette and that whole situation. What was that, in 2000? And they were
like, is that when it was? I guess
somewhere around there. And they were like, that's when wrestling really took a hit. And I was like, oh man.
Well, what happened was once the territory thing kind of went away. You had like Gorgeous George was he in the 50s? I can't remember when Gorgeous George was around, but Gorgeous George was real flamboyant. He had bleach blonde hair and he had a big robe, and he came out with the candelabra and, had somebody that sprayed the air for him and stuff. So that was your first real character. You had wrestlers, but these guys were like bruisers. It was like Bruno Sammartino. He didn't have a gimmick. He was just a fighter. But then you had like people like Gorgeous George that came along and started making a spectacle of it, and people hated him for it. It's like, oh, and that's, you get heat. And so anyway, then later on, when Hulk Hogan came along, especially with like Rocky 3, he, his Thunder Lips, that really got that out there. People saw Rocky because they love Rocky, and then Thunder Lips is in there, and it's Hulk Hogan. And when he came along, that really ushered in that new idea of wrestling. It's like, oh, they're larger than life. They're out of a comic book. These are, people I read and like, but now they're in person. They're real. So that's really when it happened. So in the 80s, it's when it really changed to be more of the carnival atmosphere, which is, it's all carnies. And you go to the circus and walk around, go to the fair and walk around, look at all the freak show, the sideshow stuff. And that's what wrestling is really. So it is about entertaining.
And that's the thing. I enjoyed that part of it. I was entertained.
And people say, well, that match doesn't mean anything. It's not, there's no title involved. There's
not sanctioned.
It's not sanctioned. And you go, well, it's all, none of it matters. You understand that, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just like football or anything else. Movies, for that matter, get forgotten over time.
Yeah. It's for your entertainment. It's for your entertainment. And how more can you be entertained than you bring out a huge mouse trap?
Yeah.
Put a guy in it. Which was one of the worst things I've ever seen, by the way.
I loved it. No, the spirit was there, man.
I get you, but this didn't work. It would have been super cool if it had worked properly, but it didn't work, and Johnny had to, finagle it, and then it was made out of PVC pipe, which I'm like, so being a set designer and stuff, I could see that, but yeah, it was fun. I was just glad they all got involved too. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I was kept waiting for Steve-O, and I was like, "Come on, Steve-O, that's all we need." But
Steve-O, man, that's kind of his thing, man. You've been perfect, yeah. Hey.
I think Steve-O's awesome. I think they're all awesome,
dude. No, they were. It was fun, and it was. But yeah, like with Wee Man. Man, he really had like a good little run there for a second. He did body slamming him, and
he got kicked in the face, man. I couldn't believe that. When they showed the replay, I was like, oh my gosh.
Straight in the face.
Oh my gosh.
And those guys typically wrestlers pull their punches, kind of like.
No, they do not quit, Jeff. You're going to, come on, no magician tells their tricks.
It's kind of like, Will Smith and Chris Rock when they
come
fake
on.
slap. On stage.
Come on, let's leave it alone.
Hi there, we just want to say thanks for listening to Hump Day Conversations with Jeff and Linds. We really appreciate it. We want to give a super good shout out to Jacob Boyd with Post Retro for his invaluable guidance as we put this thing together. Go listen to his super swell podcast, Talking Indies in My Undies, wherever you find podcasts. We also want to give an extra super duper shout out to our founding Patreon patron, John Thomas Oakes. JT is part of the We Feel You tier, and by being so, we'll get this shout out as well as written mentions in our video versions and social medias, and we will read and respond to his letter email once per month in a special extra episode. You can find JT every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on John Brannion's Starving Comics Quarantine Show on YouTube. We also want to welcome Katie Berheim from South Dakota to the Hump Club. Katie is part of the We Hear You tier, and by being so, she's going to get this shout out plus written shout outs on all our social media outlets. If you'd like to join JT and Katie in the Hump Club, go visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/HumpDC. That's HUMPDC. Don't forget the new episode of our little show drops every Wednesday at 12:12 a.m. on Spotify and iTunes, and at 12:12 p.m. on YouTube, with one or both of us in a live chat as it premieres on the Daydreamer Pictures channel. We hope we can help you get over Hump Day with some laughs and whatnot. Be sure to slap the like buttons wherever and whenever possible, share and subscribe.